fire in my eyes. I gather my pieces, I'm ready to rise. The challenge awaits, the clock's ticking fast. In the realm of the puzzle, the shadows are cast. Every edge, every curve, I'll memorize. A champion spirit that never will die. The corners connect, a vision in sight. I'm breaking the dawn, I jigsaw the light. With patience and skill, the pieces unite. With each piece I place, I'm winning the fight. In the quest of my life, where the brave reach the height, I found my own way, I jigsawed the light.
I hope that that looked at least half as epic as what it felt like when we were there. In the intro, you have seen snippets of the Swedish Jigsaw Puzzle Championship, which was a competition that I have wanted to visit for a long time and finally made it this year at the beginning of March. This was the 6th time that the Swedish Jigsaw Puzzle Championship has organized this event, and it has been a very popular one. So it has looked incredible from photos, and I have always wanted to visit because of what it looked like. And in order to understand why I found that so attractive, let's go back to the discussion that I had with Adam Gray from Canada, when we talked about the World Championship last year.
In a way, an arena would be amazing. I think, because then it would give space for the audience, an actual audience area that can like sit and watch. Maybe even have their little team zones put up of like flags and everything, because like right now there's no real country areas. And then the next argument for an arena like event for me is that it just looks like professional. It looks really, really cool.
The Swedish Jigsaw Puzzle Championship has actually provided exactly that, what I was talking about. And it was not just about the puzzle choices or the area or just the organization itself, but something special. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, with a little bit of the competition experience. And we can also kind of find why this competition can actually be a very good advertisement for speed puzzling in general, and how it can contribute a lot to the future of this sport. One thing that really added to the atmosphere of a world championship was that the preliminary rounds used a lot of world championship puzzles. The solo preliminaries were Blossom Walk, Furry Friends, and Frida Kahlo. So it's 3 puzzles that we have all known from the world championship, and that kind of showed how different it could have been if the world championship was organized a little bit differently. But putting that aside, in my solo preliminary, which was round A, I got Blossom Walk, and I have actually never done that puzzle before. So it was a big surprise. The one thing that made it very hard was that for some reason it started all very suddenly. Like, we marched in, and then there were the lights, and then there was a lot of talking, and then all of a sudden there was a countdown. And I was so whimsied away that I was still fiddling with my phone to make a time lapse of the puzzle, but then it started so suddenly that I actually had to just jump to the puzzle and start puzzling. I actually had to get the boards out of my bag while I was still flipping the pieces. So that was a little bit sudden, but other than that, it went really well. I'm very happy with my time on the Blossom Walk, and I think it was a really nice puzzle. All of the individual preliminaries, I think, were puzzles that a lot of the people have done already. Because the World Championship puzzles are popular, people are going to get them, people are going to puzzle them in preparation for competitions, and it's just funny how there's always a Frida Kahlo at every single competition. That's the puzzles that the organizers got. They didn't get a very big selection to choose from, which is kind of a shame, but they did their best. Then, at the end of the day, it was time for the individual final, and that was the special puzzle that was exclusively designed for the competition. Finally, I actually got an individual final puzzle where I'm actually good at. I usually have very bad luck with finals puzzles, and with this one I was super happy. This puzzle was specifically designed for the competition by a Swedish artist, Liselotte Karlsson, and I think it really was a fan favorite. The artist did have have a stand at the competition venue, and I actually ended up buying a little magnet during the day when I didn't realize that it was her who was the designer of the competition puzzles. There was also a little bit of a spoiler before the competition started, because she did put up a poster of maybe about 16 or 20 pictures where basically there was a note next to it prompting people to guess which one the final puzzle is going to be, which is kind of sad because the whole experience of getting a surprise puzzle was kind of blown, because obviously everyone started looking at all of the pictures to guess which one it is going to be and kind of start calculating. In the end, I am very happy with this one. It's just a lovely image. So it was also a great experience to puzzle it. And I ended up being insanely fast for myself as well. I finished in around 41 minutes, which is, yeah, super fast for myself in general. And I was extremely happy. So this was a very lovely experience for me, and I'm definitely keeping this puzzle for, well, future speedruns as well, just to see how fast I can go on this one. The next day was the pair and team competition, and I was actually kind of glad that I didn't participate in the pair competition because there were some challenging puzzles, and I didn't participate in the pair competition because of a series of events. I ended up commentating on all of the pairs rounds. The puzzles that they got was A Sea of Red, Flowers for You, and Flower Market France. And A Sea of Red has a little bit of a background story because it was not supposed to be at the competition. The organizers didn't pick this one. They got it from the sponsor Ravensburger as yeah, they didn't ask for it for a solo round. And once they saw the puzzle, they were like, no, this is not a solo puzzle, which it obviously isn't. So they swapped it with Frida Kahlo from the previous day, and they gave it for the pairs round. And it's good they did, because even with pairs, only 13 finished of the 180 that were participating. So this is not a solo puzzle for a competition. It was really interesting to see people work through this puzzle, but also it's just not necessarily the most motivating thing. It's actually a lovely puzzle. I like the picture itself, but this is not a speed puzzle. It's basically an exercise in shape sorting, and it was a super difficult challenge. All the others were really cool puzzles for pairs, and some were insanely fast. Once the pairs qualification rounds were over, I actually got to get back to puzzling again. It was time for the team round. The team that I puzzled with this time was a German team, and it was made up of myself, Merle, Ricarda, and Annabelle, and our team name was Edge of Reason. I actually only managed to film one high-quality time-lapse over the weekend, but I am glad that it is this one because the team round was really good fun. We did the initial flip together and discussed roles, ending up with Mel and Ricardo working on the sky and water while I was doing the edge, and Annabelle doing the sorting for the majority of the puzzle. And I must say that she did a phenomenal job because she kept feeding pieces to each of us and the puzzling never stopped. The image itself was a good team challenge with distinct parts for each person to work on, but also it had this messy middle part that is very tricky to pick and place with this many people. You can also see that we were struggling a little bit with the middle areas, but we did manage to finish with a time of 49:28, which is great for a team that has never puzzled together before. We achieved 11th place with this puzzle, and the funny thing was that because there were not enough live stream hosts, basically once I finished the puzzle, I actually had to jump up and go help out Jason, who was doing the live stream of the teams competition. Hi everyone, I'm Fruji Wilhelm again. I am jumping in to help out a little bit so that you're not
very
alone.
much appreciated. You kind of run out of things to say after a while with nobody to talk to.
So I have just finished my puzzle, 5 minutes ago. So I'm still in a little bit of a rush, but as far as I can see, teams are pulling in for the last few pieces on many tables so far.
Yeah.
The last round of the competition was the pairs final, and it's always just so exciting to watch a pairs final. You usually get insane times, and again, I was commentating that round and not puzzling myself, but the puzzle that they got was Himalayan Harmony, which is an artwork by Sheena Pike, and it was used at Canadian Nationals last year. So A lot of people might have known the image, but it's actually not that readily available in Europe, so I don't think that many people have done it before, but you can never be sure. It was really exciting to watch though, and with this one I actually couldn't stay until the very end because I had to get back to the airport to catch my flight home. So the pairs final was cut a little bit short for me, but it was a real experience to watch. So one of the things that I have pointed out, I think earlier already, is that speed puzzling is kind of a quirky niche hobby and it needs to be treated seriously in order to be taken seriously. And this event is just the prime example of that because of the humongous venue and the number of participants and the experience of the organizers. It just looks like a professional sports event. There was also basically a theme song to the entire competition, which just added so much to the atmosphere. The song that you have heard in the beginning of the video was played every single time people entered the arena before their competition round, and I think as a result, pretty much all the participants knew I jigsawed the light by the end of the weekend, and that just contributed so much to the atmosphere. And I know what you're about to say. We're not doing the AI discussion now. It's something where I think realistically the organizers wouldn't have sat down to have a singer and a producer put together an entire pop song just for a jigsaw puzzle competition. Maybe in the future it is going to happen, but for now it was an amazing solution and it was a great experience for everyone. What also added so much to the professional atmosphere was obviously the perfect organization. It was really flawless. Everything started on time every single time. And there I definitely have to point out that there was a humongous number of volunteers who have offered their time and effort. There were people who specifically traveled to this competition to be helpers, which I think is incredible. And it just added so much because there were a huge number of judges, a huge number of volunteers who would pack puzzles, who would move tables, bring chairs, put away everything, clean the tables between rounds, and just be timekeepers and judges during the competition, which was incredible, and it really made everything flawless in the competition. There was also a huge spectator area, so in between your rounds you could sit and talk, and even if you were chattering in the audience area, the competitors wouldn't really be bothered because it was separated very, very well. Obviously, people still keep kind of silent as the puzzling is going on, but it didn't really reach you that much because the hall was also just huge. So all in all, with the flawless organization, the looks of the venue and the lights and everything else, they created not just a competition, but an entire atmosphere that presented speed puzzling the way it is, at least I believe, as a professional sport. Where you really have to bring your best to the table in order to perform the insane performances that we have seen over the weekend from the Swedish champions. All in all, I think a competition like this really shows how speed puzzling can blossom in the future. Sweden has been organizing this for 6 years, so they got the experience. They also have a huge amount of people participating. I think there were at least 1,000 people who were signed up for this event, so also the size of the arena is also justified for the amount of people. But in general, it's just such an experience, and it's really nice to see how, if organized correctly and if the circumstances are nice enough, then speed puzzling can really be looked at as a serious sports performance. And I think that's something that the sport needs in the future. If we want it to be taken seriously, this is what it really takes. So Sweden has really delivered with this competition, and I really hope that a lot of similar ones are going to show up in the future. This was kind of a quick video to recap the Swedish Jigsaw Puzzle Nationals. I have just so many things that I have to film and upload to tell you about the events that I have been to. I have pretty much been on the road for the past 3 weeks, starting with Sweden, then I continued at the Belgian Jigsaw Puzzle Nationals and finished at the German Jigsaw Puzzle Nationals. So those are still videos that I have to edit and upload for you. So if you want to see more of these competitions, then definitely subscribe because there's more coming. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you in the next one.